Hello, Gainesville, Florida, and welcome to 1982 Bar. I'm your host for the evening, Ryan Newcomb, otherwise known as Nuke Dog. Okay, I'm going to be telling a series of stories, and hopefully maybe you can laugh at them. That'd be nice. The first one takes us back to 1995 when I was living in a trailer park in Sumter, South Carolina called Carolina Mobile Court. It was devastated from like a hurricane, and it was so shot out and run down that it was like $200 a month for a whole trailer and the land. And this guy called me on the phone and said, "Hey man, is it cool if I come live with you?" And I was like, okay. I'd met James Ivan Starling in the United States Navy when I was in for a very short period of time. Honorably discharged veteran, though. So the next day he shows up with this other guy, and I was like, who's this? And he goes, oh man, he's cool. It's JP the evangelist. He wants to live here too. It's pretty absurd to ask somebody if you could come live with them and then you bring a friend, you know? It's like not like a ride to the donut store or something. It's like you're living, you know? So I thought it was kind of absurd when this guy shows up with another cat and then tells me he's a legit Pentecostal evangelist. So I let them both move in and everything went fine for about a month, and I'm working at Foot Locker and they're working at some various places. About a month went by of this living arrangement, and I had two cars at the time, an 82 900 Turbo Saab and an 85 Nissan 300ZX, which is like pimp stuff for trailer park lifestyles like myself was having. JP was using my 82 900 Turbo Saab to go to work, and James Ivan Starling was getting dropped off by me and my 85 Nissan 300ZX. Anyway, one day Jim says, I got a job interview, we're going to drop you off at work, and then we'll come pick you up. And I said, that's fine. So they both had my cars, and my assistant manager comes into my work and goes, yo man, I seen both of your cars across the street from my house today. And I was thinking that ain't good because he lives across the street from a crack house. And he goes, man, I seen your VCR, your TV, your tennis racket, some boots, your bass guitar, your telephone, everything's been going in the crack house. I was like, oh, bless you. And I said, damn, dude. And then my manager's like, yo, if you got to handle something, go ahead and do it. I was like, yeah. So I called this mullet redneck named Wayne. Wayne was a lot of fun. One time when we went fishing, he straight up hit a fish with a stun gun so it wouldn't, quote unquote, flap in the cooler. I said, man, get up to the store. And he goes, what the hell's going on, man? I said, I'll tell you what's going on. I said, those two roommates of mine are robbing me out of everything I own right now. I need some help. He goes, I told you I was over there the other night, and that one motherfucker must have stole my gold chain off my neck because when I got home, it was missing. I was like, well, you know where it is now, dude. So come on, hurry up. So he comes and picks me up at the store, and we're driving. So I asked Wayne for this cell phone, and he hands me this thing that looked like a fucking car battery, and I put it up to my head after I dialed 911. I said, yo, man, this is Ryan Newcomb. I live at 211 Stevens Drive, Carolina Mobile Court. My roommates are on crack right now, and they're robbing me out of everything I own. Can you please send a unit? And they're like, yeah, man, we'll send a unit. So I said, okay, fuck, who can I call? So I called this guy, James, and I was like, James, can you go keep an eye on my trailer till I get there, man? Some shady shit's been going down. He's like, that's all right. I'll watch it. So James goes over to my trailer. And Wayne and I are pulling into the trailer park, and James is running full speed down the street with piss all over his pants. And I'm just like, wow. So anyway, Wayne goes, never mind him, man. There's that guy. And there's James Ivan Starling rocking my leather jacket, just bouncing around with blood in his hair and shit. And I was like, Wayne, give me the gun. And he goes, no, I reckon you'll shoot his ass. I was like, nah, I just want to scare him real bad. And he goes, nah, fuck that. He goes, you're not spending the rest of your life in jail over some bullshit, petty bullshit. He goes, besides, here come the cops. And the cops pull up and they're like, who's the complainant? And I said, that'd be me, Ryan Newcomb. And then they said, well, who's that? And I said, that's James Ivan Starling. And they could tell, like, I mean, anybody with, like, mad blood pouring off their head and, like, wearing a leather jacket when it's 80 degrees outside, it just don't make no damn sense. So he obviously knew that was the guy that was fucked up. And he said, hey, man, you got the key to this dude's 300ZX? And the guy just holds that key out, and the cop goes, put it down on the ground, son. And then the guy goes, whoop. and he eats that shit and runs straight into the woods. And the cop's like, I ain't never seen no shit like that. And I was like, shouldn't you be doing something about it? And he goes, oh yeah. And he goes running into the woods after the guy. And then another unit pulls up. And then James comes back up the street. I said, what the hell happened, man? And he goes, dude, fucked up, man. Fucked up. He goes, I'm laying on your couch because I just got off of work at the chicken slaughterhouse and I was all tired and shit. And fucking out of nowhere, boom, right through the window comes that guy, James Ivan Starling. And he just fucking landed on your coffee table and broke that bitch in half and shot the legs off the motherfucker and got up and straight stared me down. And I said, is that when you pissed your pants? He goes, fuck yeah, what would you do? I was like, I don't know. He goes, what's worse, man? He goes, the front door to the trailer was wide open. I looked at the window of the trailer and that shit was all smashed out and another cop car arrived and the cops come back from the woods and they're like, we couldn't catch him. I was like, holy shit, you know, come on, guys. And the cop goes, yeah, your best bet is to board up and sleep it off and go to work in the morning like nothing happened, which I did. And this guy comes into the store, and it's the preacher from the Pentecostal church, and he goes, Brother Ryan? And I said, I am not your brother. And he goes, that's besides the point. Have you seen Brother JP lately? And I was like, man, no, actually, as a matter of fact. And he goes, well, if I see him, I'm going to kick his ass. And I said, damn, why are you going to do that? And he goes, last night he came into the church, delivered the most powerful of sermons, passed around the collection plate, and then instead of splitting it with me, he straight hauled ass out of the back with that shit and jumped in your turbo Saab and took off. I was thinking that I'd be getting rent for like $66 is why I let him in, but I got a lot more money's worth of trouble out of that situation than it was worth for the rental savings of 1 month with those two, Crack Smoker Jim and JP the Evangelist. I got a job back in 99 in this resort tower laying tile. And this guy Don got me the job. I was living with him. The job site for this high rise was like the guts of a building that was going to be a luxury resort tower, but it wasn't quite there yet. And you had all kind of mutants and savages running around there, people just peddling drugs in the parking lot, doing idiotic stuff all day. And you know, the guys I was working with were mostly caught up in that, except for Don and myself, and the boss, Warren, he didn't play. And I was laying the tile with Don. One morning, he straight up didn't show up for work, so we just went on break at 10:30, and at 10:45, we're walking back up the stairwell, and he's sitting there, and he points at his watch. About time y'all motherfuckers showed up for work. And I was like, Donald, dude, it is 10:45. Let me see your watch. And that shit said 7:15 on it. And I was like, dude, Don, obviously your girlfriend set your watch back so she could get more ass. You're very late for work. You know, it's one of those jobs that, like, you'll be laying tile and then one guy yells, I'm back in Vietnam, and jumps in a bathtub or something like that when he's supposed to be grouting. And Don's like, my girl wouldn't do that. And I said, she did again last night. And he goes, damn, does Warren know? And Warren's the big boss man. And I was like, dude, Warren knows. And he goes, fuck. And he goes, does Tommy know? And Tommy's the owner. And I said, I don't think Tommy knows. And then Don fucking raises up out of the fucking steps and goes, man, if I see either of those two cats, I'm going to tell them to suck it. And I was like, damn. Because Warren was standing right behind Don and goes, is that what you're going to do, Donald? And Don goes, oh, what's up, Warren? And Warren goes, all right, all y'all clowns. Before anybody goes on lunch break today, we are having a heart-to-heart conversation. Warren wasn't down for the mayhem that ensued on that job site most of the time. He had a pregnant white wife at home that gave him a hard time, I guess. So, you know, he come in there looking pissed off from the first minute he showed up. And by the time he left, he was ready to just explode in fury. So we all line up and he starts off with me. He says, Ryan, you're making $8 an hour. And you will continue to make $8 an hour because of the lack of productivity I see out of you. I said, Warren, $8 an hour is plenty. I drive a white V6 Audi. Ain't complaining about my lifestyle. And he goes, I fucking hate you. And then he goes, Donald, where in the fuck were you this morning? And Donald goes, oh shit, Warren, I was driving around looking for jumper cables. And Warren goes, don't let that shit happen again. I'm like, how'd that fucking work? Why are you looking for jumper cables if your car runs and you can drive it around to get them, you know? Then he points at this guy named Mark Cusimano. He goes, Mark. And Mark's got a blister on his lip and shit, and he's bouncing around and shit. And he's like, where in the fuck were you yesterday, Mark? And Mark goes, and then this other guy standing next to him, Stacy, goes, go on, Mark, tell him how you had us in that hotel room holed up smoking crack and blew our whole paycheck. Stacy and Mark lived in an apartment where they had a bed sheet, a pillow each, and a newspaper and a bottle of ketchup because they were into drugs that bad. All right, getting back to things, I got a job from Don again, a second time, and that made for more mayhem. He had me mowing lawns in some Section 8 housing, and people that had various issues lived there. I guess there wasn't raw sewage in the yard or anything like that, but you know, there was some characters living in those places, and you'd always interact with them, and they'd be getting crazy like, yo, man, let me hold $1. Well, I'm mowing a lawn, dude. Obviously, I'm trying to get up on $1 myself. So anyway, I'm mowing lawns, and then I got to get the grass off the sidewalk, so I try to kick on this leaf blower, and the shit's not working. So I just said, man, damn, I guess I'll just push the mower over the sidewalk and blow the grass off to the sides. So then I get up close to this guy's door, and the mower sucks up his mat. I'm like, motherfucker. So I'm down on the ground fixing this shit, and then I feel this presence standing over me, and I look back, and there's this 6'9" dude that goes, oh, I know you ain't fucking up my shit. You people come up in here, you be fucking up my shit. Hell no. And I was like, look, dude, this was purely accidental. I will talk to the landlord, and we'll get you a newer, better swatch of carpet than this one. And he goes, man, I'm watching your ass. And I was like, well, watch me mow some lawn, dude, whatever. So I kick on the lawnmower, and I pushed it about 4 feet. Off to the left, I see a fucking window of an 86 Ford Tempo implode. And I say to myself, holy shit, this lawnmower just shot a rock through the window of that damn car. And then I turned off the lawnmower and looked back, and that guy goes, that's my ride. You're not going to do that too often, and especially after you just fucked over somebody by slicing up their doormat. Back to the trailer park in South Carolina, my roommate and I each had $40 and the day off, so we threw down on an ounce of what you'd term as dirt weed. And we smoked all fucking day in that trailer till the trailer was just the thickest cloud of smoke. I mean, you couldn't see in that bitch. And he's like, man, we got to get some snacks. And I was like, you know what time it is. We got to get some snacks. So we crossed through the woods and went across the highway to the store. And I bought strawberry quick circus peanuts and a bag of Andy Caps hot fries. And straight up headed back to the trailer with that. Laid on the couch with the bag of hot fries unopened on my stomach, circus peanuts, drinking the quick, you know, watching Andy Griffith on the black and white TV, just kicking it out of nowhere. We hear this wild, wild machine gun firing right next to the house. So both of us straight rolled off the couches. When I rolled on the ground, I landed on the bag of hot fries, and that shit blew all over my stomach and shit. And I was just like laying low. I dialed 911. I said, yo, somebody's shooting up Carolina Mobile Court. And they go, not again. We'll send a unit out there. You stay on the ground till they get there. 5 minutes later, I was just going through like an agonizing wait for this guy to come to the door, because I'm rolling around crunching up some hot fries under my gut. Anyway, the knocker comes on the door. Boom, 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 Sumter County Sheriff. And so I answer the door, and the thickest fog just rolled out and hit that dude and the other dude that was standing next to him. And he straight saw me covered in hot fries and goes, son, this better not be some bullshit. But it wasn't. There was really a guy shooting at some dogs with like a MAC-10 or something. More than what you need. When you're living in a trailer park like Carolina Mobile Court that rents to people for $200 a month, you will see weird stuff almost on a daily basis. I mean, like, A good source of entertainment there is to own a pellet gun and like shoot at animals that are just rolling around through the underpinning of your trailer that's all rotted out and stuff like that, and making noise under your house. You don't want to shoot to kill, you just want to shoot to scare. I rolled out to Navarre, Florida to visit some old friends that I used to have some good times with, and we're hanging out there playing Texas Hold'em on a sectional, drinking a lot of beer, smoking a little bit, stuff like that. And out of nowhere, this guy walks in the door that's like 6'2", but he weighs 130 pounds. And he goes, "Oh shit, Ryan Newcomb, how you doing?" I said, "Not bad, Bear, how you doing?" Bear was the kind of cat where when you went to hang out with him, even when he was 17 years old, he was still involved in some bullshit. My friend Cole and I were sitting on his couch in his house one time, and his mom yelled, "Bear!" and slung a can of oven cleaner clear across the trailer, and it smashed into the wall between me and Cole's heads. And then she yelled, "Bear, you huffed up all the scrubber again." "Bear, what's up, man? Haven't seen you in 6 years." And he goes, right. We got to do this more often, man." I was like, "Yeah." And then he just walks into the bathroom and we're playing cards and shit. Like 20 minutes later, I go up to the door of the bathroom, and before I knocked on it, I felt like I knew something bad was going down because I straight up smelled crack smoke. And I'm like, Mike." I turn to Mike on the couch and say, "Bear is in the bathroom smoking crack." And he goes, "Oh, not again." And I was like, "Oh yeah." But he rolled and snatched that motherfucker up off the toilet and started pushing him out the door. And the guy turned to the crowd and he's like, "Hey, I'm going up to the Tom Thumb. If anybody wants anything, just give me the money." And we're like, "Hell no." And then he gets by the front door and he has this revelation, this moment of clarity. And he just looks at all of us and he's serious too. He goes, "When I leave, y'all will laugh. Fuck you." And straight up takes off running out the damn door of the house. Did you laugh? Dude, uncontrollably for a long time. It was almost as bad as when my friend John went to take a shit during a poker game and somebody goes, "Whose turn is it?" And somebody else was like, "It's John's turn." And then he comes out of the bathroom and he goes, "I heard y'all motherfuckers talking shit. You ain't my friends." And just fucking walks down the street. Lived about 10 miles from where he was too. Different trailer parks, some of them are spread out. All right, this one is the coup de grace of disgusting stories. Partying with Don Stemetsky, second-story apartment on this street called Corvette Street that ain't even spelled like the car. It's just Corvet Street. There's like 10 or 11 of us. Some are underage, some are of age, and we're all drinking, hanging out on the balcony. And out of nowhere, like 8 sled agents, those unmarked black Lincoln, Crown Victoria, Ford things, whatever, come flying in the parking lot. And the other underage kids, they're all like, "Whoa, man, holy shit." So they fucking go hiding, and we're like a little older, so we're like, man, they got bigger fish to fry than just us. So anyway, the cops knocked on this door downstairs, and the door busted wide open, and some dude in a Nike suit came flying out of that piece and hauled ass up the road, and they set a dog loose on his ass. Instead of the dog tracking him down, the dog started playing in a puddle in front of the apartments. So we all went to laughing, and this cop just went, "Shut up!" And we're just like, okay. So we all go inside. Then about 45 minutes later, we're hanging out outside again, same deal. All of a sudden, those cars come swatting in. Evidently, this guy was a drug dealer, and he decided to come back and sell more of his product at that house. Who in the hell's gonna get swatted by the police, run down the road, get away, and then come right back to where they were, thinking that, somehow, oh, they'll forget about me? No. This time he's like, "Oh, you got me, man." And they're ushering people out of the frickin' thing, and this Jamaican lady comes out of that house in a fog, and she's just looking at the sky and shit, and she goes, "Oh, Jesus, I smoke too much crack." And this guy, Mikey T, goes, "Hey, girl, you want a high life court?" And she goes, "Okay." And the cop's like, man, you can't really stop that. There's nothing illegal about that, but that's still morally something to it. She comes upstairs and he goes, damn, girl, how long you been laid up in that crack house for? She goes, 2-3 days. And he goes, damn, girl, when's the last time you had a bath? And she goes, oh, I don't know. And he goes, it's okay, girl. You're with Mikey T now. And they start drinking and shit and putting their arms around each other, and nasty shit was starting to happen. So I was like, man, let's all go inside. So we all go inside and leave them two out there. Mikey T is to the extreme. He is like, when he gets some alcohol in him, all hell will break loose. And you're just kind of along for the ride, and hopefully you're not his ride. We're all like back in the house, dude. Fuck that. So, about 30 minutes goes by, and I'm like, man, I am starving. I want some Waffle House. Everybody's like, yeah, let's get some Waffle House. And I was like, yeah, let's get some Waffle House. So I opened the front door, and Mikey T ain't out there. And I'm like, dude, do you think Mike is honestly doing something with that lady that just got ran out of that apartment? And he goes, I wouldn't put it past him. And then this other guy goes, let's straight up find his ass. And we posse out around the apartment building, and there we see it. Mikey T's got her spread eagle on the AC unit hitting that shit. And he looks at us and goes, ooh, hell yeah, y'all. You can watch. And we're like, fuck that. And we're not hungry anymore. So we go back upstairs. A couple minutes later, he comes around the corner with her. And she goes, can I get another High Life quart? And he goes, hell no, Funky. Thanks for the good time. And smacks her on the ass. And then he walks upstairs and walks up to me. And he's looking pretty upset. And he goes, Ryan, that might be the most fucked up thing I have ever done. And I said, dude, I wholeheartedly agree. And he goes, nah, man, you don't know the half of it. I'm back there fucking that bitch, and that AC unit kicked on, and I caught a whiff of her snatch, so I stuck it in that asshole to get a quick nut just to get out of the situation. I was like, God damn. Nothing Mikey T could do could shock you, you know what I mean? Because you've just seen so much shit go down. Like, at first, maybe, if you're hanging out with him, you think something's wild. But, like, after a while, it becomes more annoying than anything else. All right, back to non-sexual stories. I was working in a Mexican restaurant in 97, and the owner, Rogelio, came up to me and he said, man, I'm going to play professional soccer for 1 month in South America. I need you to run the store from the server perspective because you are the ultimate server. And I was like, yes, Rogelio. And he goes, my cousin Jean-Pierre will be running restaurants for the next month. You will listen to him. You will do what he says. He will listen to you. He will help you out. Good relationship. That's all I ask. And I said, you got my word on that. I will make this relationship work. Next day, I come into work. There's this dude standing there wearing a lot of gold and shit. And he goes, I am Jean-Pierre. You will do your work now. And I said, yeah, that's why I'm here. Jean-Pierre was half French, half Mexican. And that makes for an odd-looking individual, like, stylistically, because he had so many gold chains and gold bracelets, gold rings, gold watch. Like, he was into some gold. And I worked the shift. I said, man, I'm ready to go home when it was at the end of the shift. And he goes, no. First, you do the side work. And I was like, okay. He goes, you wipe down the chip machine. You swab the deck, so to speak. You wipe down the walls and you refill the chip machine. I said, okay, no problem. So I went and did that, and I told him I was done. He goes to check it out and goes, what is this shit? There's salsa all over these walls. I was like, man, it wasn't there a second ago. And he goes, what do you mean? And I said, I cleaned those walls. I didn't throw salsa all over them. And then I looked in the kitchen, and there's this guy standing with a big knife. I said, man, Alejandro threw that salsa up on the wall. And he goes, no, Alejandro would not do such a thing. He is my family. He would not do that. I do not like you. You are a liar. You are fired. So I was like, fuck this shit, and I just went home. I thought to stand up for myself and say no F you and shit like that, but I was like, man, just get out of here. This guy's ridiculous. And he looked ridiculous, too. About a week later, I was doing some acid with this guy, Mikey T, that you may have heard about, and we were watching some television. And one of our friends comes in and he goes, did y'all drop already? And we're like, yeah. And he goes, that's cool. I'll just take 2 hits to catch up. So he does that shit. And then he sits on the couch. He pulls this thing from his back pocket about 5 minutes later, and it's a long tube about this long. And I said, what the fuck is that? And he goes, man, it's left over from war games this afternoon. It's an artillery blast simulator. It's basically a bomb. And then I said, holy shit, dude. Let's go throw that thing in a football field and watch it explode. Mikey T goes, nah, man, fuck that shit. Let's go bomb those Mexicans that straight up fired your ass last week. When you do anything like LSD, you might do something that you otherwise wouldn't do. So we all posseed out into my car because that seemed like a good idea. And we rode to the back of the restaurant and the back door was wide open. I said, yo, Eric, throw that shit by the back door. He throws it and it goes in the back door. And I was like, ooh, that ain't good. So I hit the gas and we started getting the fuck out of there and it goes boom and fucking explodes all over the back of the parking lot. I was like, whoa, we're gonna get in trouble, dude. And he goes, nah, man, we'll just lay low in Navarre and we'll all be okay. I'm like, all right, dude, we'll go lay low in Navarre and be okay. Yeah, right. So we went to Navarre to Mikey T's house and stayed there. I didn't hear shit for a couple weeks. Rogelio calls me on the phone. He goes, is this Ryan? Yes. This is Rogelio from the restaurant. And I said, okay. And he goes, look, I do not like the way Jean-Pierre run my restaurant. You are my best server. He fire you. You'll come back to work tomorrow at 12 o'clock. I say, man, I guess I got no choice, to myself, of course, because I don't want Rogelio to know something's up. So I go in there and I'm working and, you know, things seem pretty normal. And I was kind of cautious, you know, just, hey, how you guys doing and stuff like that. And they're all like, good, good. And I'm filling up some drinks. And this guy comes from behind a corner and he goes, you is the bomber. And I was like, oh, shit, dude, this is some kind of sting. So I'm working paranoid the rest of the shift till later on I go to roll some silverware and Alejandro pops out from behind the corner and says, you is the bomber. And I was like, holy fucking shit. Alejandro, I got to put a stop to this. How do you know that I'm the bomber? And he goes, because, man, I see your crazy ass pull up in your Saturn while I am taking piss behind dumpster and your friend throw some shit into restaurants. And I say to myself, get down, Alejandro. That is a bomb. This artillery blast simulator is just like one of these things where you throw it and it makes a loud boom sound, you know? It wasn't like something we intentionally built for the purpose of destruction or something like that. And absolutely nobody got hurt. So it was funny to them too, like the guy that knew about it, Alejandro, that was pissing behind the dumpster, because like it didn't blow up the damn restaurant or nothing like that. It just blew up a towel rack and woke up a guy sleeping in a cooler. So I go down to Melbourne, Florida in '98 for a nice Thanksgiving dinner with a couple of friends, and we're all drinking at the end of the night. And this one guy gets to talking about how you can light up a fart. And I was like, you can't light up a fucking fart. And the other guy's like, fuck yeah, you can light up a goddamn fart. And the other guy's like, man, you could light up a fart. And I was like, y'all are full of shit. That's a wives' tale. You can't light up a fart. And the one guy's like, fuck that shit. We'll prove it to you right now. So he pulls down his pants and bends over the couch with his ass sticking out. And Eric gets all up behind his ass with the Zippo lighter and goes, okay, when I'm ready, you fire up that Zippo. I'm going to tell you when I'm ready. Okay? All right, here it comes. And nothing happens. And they do this like 4 times. I was like, I told y'all that was a wives' tale. He was just farting in Eric's face and Eric was singeing his ass hair. And I made fun of them. I said, you guys are ridiculous trying to prove this point. There's no point in it. And they're like, wait, here it comes. Holy shit, here it comes. This is the one. Get ready. Oh, boom. Out of nowhere, dude. Flying from his ass at 80 miles an hour. Boom! Something fucking hits him in the face and then falls onto the carpet. And I walked over to that thing and I was like, motherfucker, that is a corn husk. All of you have checked your pants before, after farting and stuff. And never once have you just seen a piece of corn chilling in there. So to my surprise, when I saw a piece of corn fly out of the dude's ass, I'm like, how does that make it past the sphincter? I mean, doesn't the body have internal filters to prevent some bullshit like a piece of corn flying out of your ass when you fart? I don't know. Driving in the trailer park to my 19th birthday, and there's a limit to how much fun one can have on 19th birthday. So I was going to the Sumter bowling alley in my 300ZX. feeling all pimp on the dirt road in the trailer park, and all of a sudden black smoke starts billowing out of the vents. And I'm like, oh, that ain't good. So I jumped out of that thing, popped the hood open, and I unzipped my pants because I was like, this thing's obviously on fire, so I'm going to have to piss this out. And the fire was so damn out of control that I was like, man, there ain't no way you're pissing this out. And some big fat bitch pops out of her trailer and goes, you want me to call the fire department? I said, no, fat bitch, just stand there and fucking watch it burn. My car was going up in flames. My Jawbreaker Dear You CD, which just went out of print, was up in there. So I jumped in there and got smoke inhalation really bad. Anyway, later in the day, this guy, Dean, knocks on my door and goes, hey, man, did you straight up call my wife a fat bitch? I said, that's your wife, Dean? And he goes, yep. He goes, I told you I had 2 pigs at the house. One pot belly, one standing up. I had no clue that was anybody's wife or anything like that. You just see somebody that nasty and assume they live alone, you know, so you could have free reign to talk to them however. But if I'd have known that was Dean Ray's wife, I would have said, ma'am, could you please call the fire? Yeah, right. I'd have said, fat bitch, just watch it burn. Crazy Fest was this music festival that happened in Louisville back in like the late 90s and stuff. And I drove from Colorado out there in 2000, and I blew all my money at the merch tables and stuff kind of frivolously, so I don't have any gas and I don't really have a good plan. And I'm like, damn, how am I going to get home? So I'm wearing this Hot Water Music shirt, and I walk up to a gas station, and this guy introduces himself to me as Jeff the Hitchhiker, and he goes, man, I love some Hot Water Music. I was like, man, you don't fucking know them. You're some random hitchhiker. He goes, no, man, I used to party with George, Jason, Chuck, Chris, down at the Hardback, man. I know those cats. And I was like, dude, where are you going? He goes, where are you going? I said, I'm going to Denver. And he goes, man, that's where I'm going. So he's like, man, take me with you. I'll give you some gas money. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, dude. You can roll. So he's riding with me. And man, this dude was like stealing tools at Home Depot to get up gas money and fucking stealing sandwich meat from Walmart and making sandwiches in the car, trying to score methamphetamine at the truck stop. I caught him doing a lot of ridiculous shit, and I told him I was going to chuck his backpack out of the fucking window on the highway if he kept doing that kind of shit. And then he cleaned up in Kansas. So Jeff the Hitchhiker's in the passenger seat. I'm in the driver's seat. It gets late at night. I stop at a rest area in Kansas. We go to sleep. I do not know what woke me up or compelled me to wake up at 4:30 to some thick-ass fog. I was like, well, there ain't nothing in Kansas. So I got on I-70 and started driving 90 miles an hour. And all of a sudden, I catch one frame of a deer. When you hit a deer at 90 miles an hour, you're seeing things in frames just like in a movie or something. And it's like deer, deer head, deer ass, car demolished. And I'm like, holy fuck, I just hit a deer, and it was big. And I was like, shit, the RPMs are dropping to 0. This fucking engine is gone, dude. Holy shit, I just lost my fucking car. So I'm pulling over to the side of the road real quick. Just going to the side of the road. And then out of nowhere, whoa, man, did we hit something? I was already accepting of my fate with the damn deer, you know, and then... it was worse to have a hitchhiker just yelling at an obscenely high volume. Yeah, Jeff the Hitchhiker, we did in fact hit something about a minute ago. And he goes, man, your car's all fucked up. We're going to have to push it off this highway. And I was like, yeah, I kind of know that already. That was established before you woke up. So we pushed the car off to the side of the highway, and I was like, man, I got to go to the gas station, call my mom, get some money to take the Greyhound to Denver. So I'm calling my mom. I was like, Mom, the Audi's pretty much a total loss. I just hit a deer and lost the engine and everything. I'm going to need you to wire me some money for the Greyhound. And then Jeff the Hitchhiker goes, hey, man, see if your mom will wire me some money for the Greyhound, too. I've loved cars all my life, so whenever I can get something that's remotely smooth, like an Audi, whether it be 10 years old or 2 years old, or a 300ZX back in the day. I used to love those 80s 300ZXs, man. I loved my 82 Turbo Saab. I loved a lot of cars, man. Finally, we have Corvette Maniac, which is one of my favorite stories. All right, so I purchased an Audi A4 1.8 Turbo Quattro, and I'm feeling pretty good about myself driving down the road with my buddies Jonathan Hamilton and his brother is in the back seat. And we're just sitting there in traffic. And then I heard a low rumble, and Hamilton goes, "Man, look to your left. It's the shittiest Corvette of all time." And I see this 75 Corvette that's white, covered in moss and shit, shooting black smoke out of the back of it. Man, that shit must have been parked under a tree for like 3 years. Then the guy decided to get it running and take it for a drive without washing it. So we're all laughing our asses off, fucking cracking up at this damn thing. And then the fucking passenger window rolls down in it, and this huge maniac guy looks right at us, and he goes, "You think my car's a joke?" Boom! And fucking hits the gas. And I said, "Holy horsepower." He almost smashed into a car in the left lane. Then when he swerved to avoid that, he almost smashed into a parked car. So by this time, we are really laughing. And then out of nowhere, the door opens to the Corvette, and the guy just goes, and then he starts running at us. When that guy straight up pointed at us, we knew he was coming. So we started about shitting a brick, because this guy was huge. And I'm like, holy fuck, maniac time. Fortunately, there was an alley to my right, because I whipped it in the alley. My friend Cole was at home, probably enjoying his day, relaxing. And all of a sudden, we come banging on the door and said, "Yo, man, you got to hide us for a quick minute. There's some maniac that was driving a Corvette that's after us." So this is Nuke Dog. Thanks for watching my DVD. And keep the stories coming, because I keep these friends for life. Thank you.